information privacy and stuff. So I just wish him to clarify whether why Safaricom has insisted on staying with them even after the EU and the United States had issues, citing those issues. Then secondly, for Beta, now if I recall your first story about how you made the dynamo, then you made the wires, then the lamps, I think now your biggest problem is still the same problem about cybersecurity. What expertise do you have that would protect your gadgets or systems from some cyber criminal? For instance, maybe I can imagine somebody who has some means would maybe penetrate your meter and make Kenya Power to even make bigger losses. Say if that person is a big consumer of electricity, and then they make a small tweak just digitally so that instead of paying an X amount of money, maybe they pay X over 4, for example, continually. So what capabilities do you have, or what checks do you put in place so that such can be avoided? Thank you.
Thank you. I see still raised hand.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Kiruja from the Ministry of Energy. I would like to ask a question on the IoT. It will be, maybe it's a general question to the panelists on the issue of vandals, because vandalism is a big challenge to Kenya Power and maybe also our transmitter, the Kentraco. So what solutions are there or options that you are offering our distributor and our transmitter? Because as a ministry, we lose a lot of funds because sometimes we find that 2-3 days a system has gone down due to vandalism. So what solutions are you offering our distributor and transmitter in the issue of IoT?
Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dimple. I am from DTB Bank, but I don't have a financial question. My question will be to Mr. Morris about the NB-IoT. As you've mentioned about the challenges you have, one of them is data security. I would like to know more about it, because every side, if it has a white side, it has a black side as well. So I'm sure when you were creating this, you were having a lot of challenges, lot of disadvantage. So I want to know what are the disadvantages of that and what is the solution? Thank you.
My name is Nabil Lutuki. I'm an energy consultant. So during your presentation, Maurice, you mentioned that you have a product that can facilitate someone to surpass the tokens that's prepaid from a prepaid meter account to another one. I wanted to find out how practical that is, and if it's indeed practical, how come Kenya Power hasn't taken it up?
Thank you very much. I think we can answer. Sorry, there is last question here. Please.
Good afternoon. My name's Yusuf Hussein from Kenya Power. I have a question for my brother Enoch and Victor. I don't know if he's still listening. They had talked about a solution, the Opus one and the grid. I did not get the name well, but they talked about two solutions for the integration of the network and the future energy transmission. But in a real case scenario like a robust network for Kenya Power, what do you expect from your prospecting client? That is, what is the level of readiness you expect from them? And the other question I have is for Jerry and Maurice. I don't have much information about OIT, but IoT, but what is the relationship between the chip SIM card for communication also for Jerry? And now that there is an issue of internet, as you had mentioned, and we only have 2G across, are there any other options apart from network that we can use for these services? And before I forget, sorry, for Enoch, what are the challenges you had encountered with the clients you have now? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think now we can move to the answer from our panelists. So yeah, I will give Enoch if you want to start. No, please. Okay. Sorry.
So I'll take on the first question from Sibuta from the university regarding how the software supports in terms of design and circuit and fault location. So basically our softwares are more providing the engine from an operations maintenance perspective. Then we have the power planning department that designs from the beginning. So what our solutions provide in the power transmission and distribution operations and maintenance is they provide you with a platform to locate, isolate, and rectify faults. You're talking about outage. So you're able to manage them because, as I mentioned, our systems model the network into a platform where you're able to visualize from one spot. So fault isolation is possible, and that's how you're able to restore the network fairly quickly because you know where the fault is. And in any network, you have what you call temporary faults, and then you have the permanent faults. Then some of these solutions that we are deploying in the system in collaboration with other ecosystem of partners, then temporary faults or faults are able to, the system is able to self-correct or self-heal without necessarily somebody going back or going to site. And then it's able to tell you that this is a permanent fault and this is the location, then you need to put in corrective measures. So that's possible from our side. The other question was regarding Opus 1 from Yusuf. I believe I can answer all the questions related to me. Yes, the level of readiness required is, as I mentioned, as we progress and as we see the need to move, not even the need, we'll be compelled to get into that level. We need to develop the human capacity. So we need to start looking at what skills do we need and then start putting people relevant for those particular positions to be able to support. Some of the challenges we faced are in line basically to what I'm saying here. We implemented a system some time back in TANESCO, Tanzania, and all those guys who knew the system retired. There was nobody who understood the system. So it's like they have a system they can't use. It's very difficult for the new guys. So there was no transition. And so they had to recall some of those old guys to come and support. But then the network had changed. So we have seen the same situation in Ethiopia, where we are upgrading a system. And you realize that human resource is an issue. And so this has to be managed proactively. And this is the same issue we are seeing in Rwanda as well. So again, how do we put in the right skills to manage this change? I think that's the most challenging bit I've seen in most of these countries. And that's what I would like to encourage the leaderships, wherever they are, that as they plan ahead, it requires people. How do you plan along with the people?
So let me answer Kennedy on Huawei and security. So I said you have to take control of your own network. So today we carry M-Pesa that does over 40% of our country's GDP. And it carries trillions of Kenya shillings through that network. So we have invested heavily on security experts within our organization. So we design our own security architecture, and vendors comply to our standards. It is not the other way around. It is not vendor-driven. It's Safaricom-driven. So we've defined, based on the sensitivity of the traffic that we carry on the network, we have our own security architecture, invested heavily in security experts within the company, and vendors comply. So with that, then we usually don't have any issue with any vendor as long as they've met our security standards. So it is driven internally as opposed to it being driven externally, because different vendors will come with their own different architectural design. So imagine in a company like ours where we have multiple vendors, then it is chaotic, and that is where vulnerabilities begin to happen. So we lead the security conversation. To Yusuf's question, what options are there from a network perspective on connectivity? So there's GPS and GPS 2G, 4G, 3G, as Maurice said, all of those have different cost structures, and then NB-IoT that is specifically built for IoT. But there are also other networks. Remember, it is just connecting to the device and the device talking back to you. So you already have a fiber infrastructure today. Those devices can ride on your fiber infrastructure because it is already existing. We have LoRa as an option today, a low power network. We have Sigfox, as Maurice had mentioned, as alternatives to connectivity. But you also have to now make the decision with some critical things to consider. As I said, the more those devices communicate, they drain power. So you have to think about what is the optimal network to ensure that you have longer battery life. And number two, you have to think about stability and reliability of the network that you choose to work with. You don't want devices that 50% of the time will be offline. So you have to think about how stable and how reliable your choice of network is.
So I'll first take the question security and what we as Numeral have done on that. So number one, half of our developers are ISO certified security experts, and we have a good number of developers also from the fintech world, because also the Numeral is also big in software. We've been developing software for the financial institutions developing software for financial institutions for several years. So security is key. But apart from that, all our device, the way we transmit data is end-to-end encrypted. So whereby a packet can only be decoded once it reaches the destination that is intended to. So any data that goes to the device that has not originated from where it's supposed to, and has no specific keys that it's supposed to also send to the device, that will be ignored. So that's like on a nutshell on security. But also we follow very seriously on international standards on security. Actually, our meters are designed according to international standards, both in security and also the protocols that the meters are using. On Sambaza, how practical it is, I don't think that, because I've said that we've tailored the meter solution for our African market, because for me, the few countries that I've traveled, I've never seen an American Sambaza ring airtime to another American or a Chinese. But in Africa, every day somebody will even ask you to Sambaza 10 shillings. That means there's an importance. If you can be able to Sambaza money, why not be able to Sambaza token? And it's as well an extra income for the utility company, because if you look at, for example, Safaricom, the biggest amount of money they're making, it's from the transaction cost, for example, from M-Pesa. So if you enable Sambaza, also the utility company are going to make like extra income on the rate that they're going to charge once somebody transferred the tokens. And as well with this technology, if you look at the way people, for example, in the city in Nairobi, many people don't live in their houses. So today you will load 100 units in your meter. tomorrow you decide to leave, or you've been transferred. So the next tenant that comes to your house, they will keep on using your tokens. And this is, it's tokens, but it's as well money that you've spent. With this technology, it will now enable the customer, once, let's say you decide to move from one house to another, you're able to take the tokens with you and move them to the next house that you'll be going to. The issue of downtime, the issue on implementation of IoT. I would say the biggest issue is downtime. That's why when I talked about IoT, we as Numero, the strategy is to let the experts do what they do best. We are not inventing the network. We don't intend to put up any IoT network. So we work closely with service providers, for example, like Safaricom, who has invested a lot of money already in the infrastructure, NB-IoT, 2G, 4G Cat1. So because it's their business to make sure that the network works, then we just focus on what we do best, which is to develop devices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please, you can add.
There was one question on vandalism which we have not addressed from Eric from the Ministry. I think vandalism is a question of bad behavior and should be punished. And I think that lies in the responsibility of all the stakeholders, including the users and the operator and the security agencies. That's why it's a multi-stakeholder engagement. But most important is how do we restore the network fairly quickly in the event of such events? And that's why we need to create redundancies and also create platforms where we're able to manage the outage out of this in a fairly quickly manner as we resolve. But vandalism is bad behavior. It should be punished by law.
Yeah, and that's also from an innovation perspective. So there are ways where you can check that vandalism. So of course you can put sensors to measure your oil levels. You can put sensors there that measure any, if the transformer reports any shaking, it can send back data back to you. But remember, it's also a unique problem in this side of the world. And what Kenya Power seeks, or rather what we are trying to seek, is how do you prevent it proactively? By the time that alarm is coming in that your oil levels have declined, most likely the vandalism has already happened and there's a network outage. So the challenge that we have as tech companies, how do we manage it proactively? And those are the conversations right now that ourselves, Maurice, and a couple of other stakeholders in the sector are working on building. So it's a unique problem that has to be solved within our context. So yes, there are technologies, but the tech will not help us to do it proactively, as both the ministry and the utility desires us to do. So it is work in progress, and I strongly believe with the kind of brains I've seen in this room, it will be fixed.
Thank you. I would like to ask if also Victor Molina would like to add something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope I have understood quite well the question, because I had some problems in hearing the people from the audience. But you correct me if I'm wrong. I understood that the question was related about the possibility of implementing some of the innovative solutions like the quantum edge device and then network digital twin. I think it was the two that they were referring to in the Kenyan networks. Of course, what I would like to share with you is that those two specific solutions are part of a big and large portfolio of expertise. Of course, depending on the use that you want from these innovation solutions and also the status of your networks, of course, most of them can be implemented, and some of them have to be done previously, an investment and an empowerment of grids in order to be adapted. The point is that I think, in my own opinion, that innovation is not something that it's only being there to give some support to grids. It's something that is going to make grids more resilient itself. So we have to see these investments in technology not just as a plus for the operation. So also a plus for the management of the networks and for the resiliency and the robust of grids. So I agree with the question. Where it has to be analyzed into detail. That's the reason why I told before that Enel has a lot of analysis before implementing an investment in different technologies, because we want them to be sustainable in time and give, so get the most profits from them. But in my opinion, again, I think that grids are ready to be digitalized and to implement innovation somehow. We have to analyze into detail what level of digitalization we can achieve right now, but for sure we can implement something in order to make grids more digital as is required at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor. Let me now actually thank the audience for all the questions and that make this section very interactive. I was also very impressed how your consideration regarding security, and because obviously when we talk about information there is these things to be dealt, but likely we can do it. It was completely clear that technology is there. It's up to us to choose to make it, to use it in a proper way, to make informative decision and to optimize the process from the beginning to avoid that there will be some extra costs at the end. So let me thank you again, all of you. Let me thank Tom for the invitation, the panelists for the speech, and for this moment to answering all your questions, the organization all. And so let me now leave the floor to the hosting organization. I will invite on the stage Anne Daring, Communication Manager of Kenya Power, to close this wonderful moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insightful and highly exciting and engaging session. We are now at the tail end of our program. Before we go any further, there are a couple of videos that we're going to play, very brief, like 2 minutes each, and then I'll invite the MD to come and make his closing and appreciation remarks.
K-Macho is an innovation which came about after my experience of lack of power for 3 days. During Corona times, there was a ministerial directive that we should not socialize, and I was not able to access the meter box. I found a solution through innovation, whereby I work with a team of technical experts on communication. We wanted to see how blind persons like me are able to purchase token, you are able to save your power, you are able to know the remaining units. Our aim as K-Macho or Disability Sausage Media is to reduce ableism in order to include everyone in society. And through such a solution, it is not just for persons with abilities, but it will ensure everyone is able to access at your own comfort zone. Because everyone, everyone loves soft life. So our solution is providing that. The innovation works through interfaces, the communication between my gadget and the way we communicate to it so that it can give information through mouth, and also other features whereby in case you are not able to hear, you can also use letters. Society is judged on its civilization on how it has enabled or how it has included the largest minority of the population of the world, who are persons with disabilities. Kindly join me to make this reality and also support us so that we can enhance disability inclusion. You can just Google Disability Sausage Media, you'll get to know the YouTube channel, which is also a content creation platform.
Basigo is a Kenyan startup. We're bringing electric mobility into the transport industry. One of the biggest advantages why electric vehicles will make sense in Kenya, it's because more than 90% of power generated in Kenya is renewable. We have 2 electric buses that have been doing piloting with 2 major circles in the country, and they've been now running for almost 4 months. They've done more than 50,000 kilometers in total, and we have proved the concept. the technology is able to work and survive in Kenya and in Nairobi for now. So by the end of the year, Basigo, we plan to have 20 buses in the country. And by the end of next year, we plan to have more than 100 buses in the country, and all of them will be locally assembled in the country. Come 2025, our target is to have 1,000 buses running Kenya. And that is possible because what we need is power, electric power, which is available and easily gotten through partnering with Kenya Power. To be able to help us see that our mission and our dream to transform the transport sector in Nairobi and in Africa entirety is able to be achieved. Basigo is selling you the same products. 25-seater, KICC, BYD. BYD is the biggest electric bus manufacturer in the world for a price of 5 million shillings. And we are able to match you and make the transition from internal combustion engines to electric mobility very easy.
What we are showcasing here is manufacturing of concrete poles. We were the second manufacturer here in Kenya in 2011 that set up manufacturing of concrete poles against what was being used in Kenya, which was wooden poles. So basically, wooden poles come from trees, and at the end of the day, we're talking about going green and sustainable. And concrete poles is more durable, in terms of lifeline. In 50 years, Kenya Power may change a wooden pole 5 to 10 times. So you can see that turnaround in terms of the forest compared to a concrete pole, which we give warranty for 50 years. So, it's more durable, long-lasting, and, again, saving the environment. A concrete pole is only around 30% more expensive than a wooden pole. So if we take a wooden pole to turn only 3 times in 10 years, the concrete pole is definitely much cheaper. Kenya Power is a main utility here in Kenya, and with their support, we have been able to grow to where we are. In the last, you can say 6 to 7 years, the electrification rate in Kenya has been phenomenal. I mean, we are almost around 70 to 80%, with a little bit more left on the off-grid space. Now, that is where Kenya Power would come in to now electrify these off-grid regions through renewable energies like, solar mini-grids coming in. And, that would now be the way forward to get 100% connectivity, and then us now going and looking at East African regions. We already have a plant in Uganda, but, we want to now be in each and every African region.
Thank you very much. I want to thank, before I call the acting MD of Kenya Power, Engineer Jeffrey Muli, all our sponsors and partners as represented on the screen right now. I'm also particularly proud of the engagement of the university students. And there's a reason why we invited universities and university students here. You're our pipeline for our working capital. So if you do not understand our human capital, so if you do not understand where the sector is going, if you don't walk this journey with us as our partners, there'll be a disconnect. And so from this forum, we want to launch even a greater partnership so that we work better together as we build the utility of the future. Without further ado, Engineer Jeffrey Muli, I would like you to come and thank the delegates.
Can we clap for Anne again? Actually, I am here to close the meeting and thank people. And even as I do that, I'll start with Tom, who came up with this idea. Can we clap for him? Thank you, Tom. I was a bit skeptical, but it has worked. Thank you very much, Tom. This lady worked so hard. Tom came up with the idea, but she made it happen. So Tom, continue dreaming. You have a lot of people who can make it happen. That's what I've come to know. And thank you very much. We were supposed to have the PS with us to close this meeting, but he has delegated because he has another assignment, and that's why I'm here. This, for Kenya Power and the sector, was a great moment for us to gather together as a country, as a region, and as a global village, so that we can be able to exchange ideas, seeing where we are going, so that we can be able to focus there together. I know it has been a great eye-opener. The few engineers from KPLC I've met out there have told me that this is the greatest thing that has ever happened for us as a sector. This is called the first ever Manufacturers, Technology and Innovation Expo, where we've been able to gather together as people with a common interest so that we can be able to prepare ourselves for the future. And I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for making time to come and be with us. One thing I want to say is that it is the presence of each and every one of us which has meant this Expo a success. I'll start by thanking our Cabinet Secretary, together with the PS and the other ministry officials who took time off to come and be with us. We want to appreciate each and every one of them. We gave them very short notice, and they were able to shelve other activities and come to be with us. Can we give them a clap? I also want to appreciate each and every exhibitor. Despite the short notice, we were able to get 37 of you to come and be with us. We also, there were a number of sponsors who sponsored this event, and we also want to appreciate them. Can we give them a clap? Thank you very much for being our sponsors. Thank you very much for being our partners. We have also had great men and women who have sat here as panelists, and they have taken us deeper into quite a number of topics which are relevant for our time. And I want us to clap for each and every one of them. Thank you very much. In fact, somebody yesterday made a comment that we seem to have brought the whole world here, and that is the truth. And it took a lot of sacrifice from all of you to be able to leave your busy schedules and to come and be with us here. Thank you very much. We don't take it for granted. We deeply appreciate your coming. Thank you very much. We also want to appreciate various delegations delegates who are here, each and every one of you for coming, representing different groups, the university students. I have liked your enthusiasm. We, as Madam Anna said, we need to collaborate more with you so that we can, with yourself, with your leaders, so that we can also expose you to what is happening in the marketplace, so that by the time you leave the university, you are ready for the job. It's plug and play. I also want to appreciate the media because of we've had a lot of support from the media. Yesterday I was able to feature live in NTV News. I spoke a lot of Swahili. And remember, today is a National Swahili Day. Can I change and speak in Kiswahili now? But Folake is here, so I don't know what will happen, and many others. And nataka kuwaambia asante sana. Karibuni Kenya. Also, I want to thank the entire KPLC team who worked together with Tom and Anne to make this activity a success. Can we clap for them? We also want to thank our media agency, IMG, for the good work that they have done, mobilizing the media and supporting us here and there. We want to appreciate you. Can we clap for them as well? We also want to appreciate our host, KICC, for doing a good job. We have enjoyed their hospitality, we have enjoyed their food, we have enjoyed every service that they have given us. We want to thank them. I also want to pass some special appreciation for some senior men and women who have been able to leave their big organizations and utilities to come and be with us. I want to start with Chike Isue, the MD and CEO of UBA. Can we clap for him? Thank you very much. I also want to appreciate my sister, Folake. Have I pronounced it right? who is a CEO of Ikecha, which is a disco in Lagos, Nigeria. And she has been with us here. Can we give her a clap? I also want to appreciate a number of CEOs in the sector who took their time off to be with us. Rebecca Miano of Kengen was with us today. Can we clap for her? She's the MD of Kengen, our biggest generator of electricity. I also want to appreciate our MD, a former MD and CEO of KPLC, who is currently the MD and CEO of GDC, Gerard Othieno, who was with us yesterday. We also had Peter Mbugwa of REREC. We also want to appreciate him. We have also had the chair of the board of KPLC, who was with us yesterday and who addressed us. Can we give her a clap? We have also received a number of board members from KPLC who were with us. Two of them have just left. I don't know whether there is one in the house, and I can't see, but at least there were two with us in the last section, and we also want to appreciate them. Thank you very much. I believe this has been a great learning for each and every one of us, and what I'm challenging myself and challenging Tom and Ann, next year, let us do the same. Let us do much better than we have done today. I now want to bring this meeting to a close for our guests from across, those who are going across the seas. In Africa, we normally send greetings. That is characteristic of Africa. Take our greetings to your people. In Kiswahili, we say pelekeni salamu. And our brothers from Africa, you know, when you stay abroad for several years and you see somebody going home to Nigeria, you want to send them greetings. Tom will attest to that. So, for our friends from the region, please take our greetings. I think they are likely to be received better. And tell our brothers across the border that we are one. And let us continue working together and supporting one another. As I was listening to people talking about the network, especially the aspect of having the East African Power Pool connected to the South African Power Pool, now North African Power Pool, West African Power Pool. You know, Africa is becoming one grid within no time. And we'll be able to support one another. Last night I met a few people from South Africa, and I was comforting them and telling them, don't worry. We are doing a line through Tanzania. And one of the ladies told me, please jump South Africa, jump Tanzania and bring it to South Africa. We are suffering. So what this is saying is that Africa is going to be almost like one grid. And when we reach there, we'll be able to support one another. So let's continue working together. And we are going to serve our people better together. Otherwise, may the Lord God bless you. Thank you very much. Kwaherini.
All right, so we're done. After the MD speaks, nobody says anything except just to usher you to lunch. And in Africa, we also pray. So I'm going to pray for the food, and then